about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact, download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.
Holy crap.
I believe it was 5 separate craft. That's some straight UFO shit right there.
That's when I started seeing all of the lights and the contact that I've been witnessing. I just kept filming and looking up at the sky, and it just started happening more frequently.
Look, what is that? What is that? What was that?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. Man, I'm glad you guys are making it here today. Unfortunately, my Facebook did not upload it. It wasn't able to go on this live. It just flagged me right now. I wasn't able to go live on Facebook, but I am live on Rumble. I am live on YouTube, and I'm live on Twitch right now. So it's going to be a busy one that I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm glad you guys are with me today. Like I said, if you just saw that for the middle part 2, I hope you saw the intro to that, and it's on Fossum TV. It's everywhere now. You can go YouTube it, and it's on YouTube as well for free. Go check it out. All right. I really appreciate you guys for doing that. And like I said, part 3 is going to be out here on these other channels as well. I'm doing actually a 4K edit for it because it didn't come out in 4K. It only came out in 2K. So I'm getting it in a 4K edit. I'm going to redo it again, and you'll see part 3 out there in a sharper image as that. But don't forget to catch us live on Spreaker where we are. We're not live now on Spreaker, but I will transfer this to audio, and you can catch this on audio as well. It's been a real busy holiday, and I hope you guys have had a really, really good holiday season out there, and having just spend time with family, friends, and with yourself. Now, I took a little bit of break from ufology just for about a week and a half or so. I put everything down for a bit, just to spend time with some family. You have to, man. You got to. And then sometimes ufology does get overwhelming. It does. I'm guilty of it, and I've had friends tell me about it in the past, and I never did it, right? But then I started noticing, it's starting to get to me a little bit, and it's crazy that that does happen to you, because you start seeing a lot of repetitive stuff, and then it just becomes the same, for me, and it wasn't nothing to report as something really big happening in ufology today, right? And like I said, if go to where it says all my links, and especially in we're talking about ufology, but if you see it says all my links, go there. We have sponsors there as well. We have this brand right here. It says America's Coffee. Go check that out, and you'll just click all my links. You'll see it there. You'll see a couple of sponsors there to the show, and it helps a lot, right? And like I talked about the middle, all of these films are out already, except for part 4. I'm editing it right now as well. I'm getting that going, man. And that part 4, I'm telling you, when I do this, when I'm editing, it gives me the chills every time I'm watching it, and that just to me means it's going to be a good product, right? A good something for you guys to see, and with disclosure. And it's going to be something that it's going to teach you as well about ufology as well. YouTube catches there. We're live right on YouTube and on Patreon. So if you want to comment, you can comment on YouTube, and it's all there as well. You can comment here as well on Rumble, and I'll see those comments come through as well. It's been a crazy one, man, and it's been about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. It's been real silent about these drones and the things that were happening out there in New Jersey, right? And I was going down that rabbit hole, man. I was going deep because I was like, you know what? We have to figure out what's going on over there, right? We, of course, us into ufology, we're jumping into the UFO thing, right? So UFOs, man, we gotta figure out what it is. Is it this war that was coming that we were expecting, and people were just losing their minds a little bit about it, and invasion, extraterrestrial invasion. I can't even say really alien anymore because it's aliens anything, but you say extraterrestrial, it's off world, right? So basically, the right terminology for what we're talking about here today is extraterrestrial. And if you notice, I've been saying that a lot because it's really off world what I'm really talking about. These UFO crafts, things like that. Now, let me show you something. It's going to be a little mix of exactly what happened these couple of weeks, and that way you can get a little logistics of where I'm going. All right, so watch this.
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny. There was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, lost control, and my drone started going down, dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and, like a couple feet off the table, and then came right back down.
Okay, you see it? You see how it goes? See how it goes? And then it becomes a spacecraft or aircraft or whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck is that, bro? Did it just get smaller? Bro, what?
Above the ocean, and it was low, very low, but so bright and so clear, and it was huge. Like when you...
I'm concerned. I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about that.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this, and we're taking it seriously. We
All right. So you saw the whole mix there of exactly what was happening. And, nobody knows. Nobody knows what these things are or what they were, right? Or what they are. Really, they were saying there was 50 of them coming out of the water, coming out, and they were flying over these areas and actually, a lot of high populated areas, right? And then you try to figure out, okay, well, what are these things, right? And when they were car size. Now we know that there's a lot of drones out there, like basically people that have their own little small drones, small ones, and they fly them for their entertainment purposes only. And I get it. You saw that girl said that hers went up and then just came back down. Now, like I said, I am a drone. I fly a drone as well. And a lot of times when the FAA or your drone gets caught on radar, they bring it down. In other words, I have a button there that'll send it home. They don't bring it down to where it crashes. It just comes home back to where it started from, right? But a lot of these drones that personal people were having were the batteries were draining right away. How does that happen? Right. So are we talking extraterrestrial here, or are we talking something different? Right. Is something is going on above our heads that we're trying to figure out what these things are, right? And everybody, we saw videos of them shooting down. Of course, that didn't happen. That was apparently that was an AI video when I showed New Jersey. There was somebody was taking pop shots at this drone. That was not a real video. The actual the drone itself was, but the actual shots was not. Somebody actually manipulated that into the actual video. That's what we found out later. That I even threw it out there myself because it looked freaking real to me. Right? I don't know. Right? So, and then people start sighting these drones. I'm gonna show you this quick video real quick, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Is that? What the hell? Okay, something's going on. Something's going on. What is that next to it? What the fuck? A part of me is starting to maybe think like that red drone is someone's drone. Like someone here putting it up, like police or something like that. And the one above it is the unidentified drones. I don't know. That's not accurate. I am just...
All right, so we kind of get a little logistics of exactly what that, what these things are or what they're not, right? People are starting to see these things up in the air, and these things are changing shape and doing all kinds of different things, right? But then, what if something else is happening, right? And then that's what we started trying to figure out. Okay, so this is what people were seeing while they were zooming in into the actual craft that was going by. Now this looks exactly to me like a plane in a sense, because it does have the red and the green, but it has a different shape to it. If you notice, look at the tail. It's really it's got a real the tail has a really hook on it at the very end, and these things were like about as big as a car, right? So we knew they were some sort of a flying drone, but it was man-made in a sense, right? And it was was what everything was catching. Everybody was catching up in the sky, right? And then they're trying to figure out, okay, well, what is it? What is it, or what is it not? Well, this is what they were seeing, right? And then all of a sudden, you see this video later on in Oregon of this that looks like it came down, a crash, right? It had crashed down. And they were trying to figure out what it was. They thought it was a drone. No, actually, that came out to be a small Cessna plane that went down right there by the freeway. And people, because it was in everybody's minds already. There's a drone out there. Drones everywhere, right? Actually, that was an actual plane crash. It was a Cessna that came down, right? So, and that's what people were trying to figure out what it was, right? Hey, who's out there? Ryan Keaton, what's up, my brother? Thank you for watching. Yeah, and we were trying to figure out, people were out there figuring out, what is this stuff? Is this a drone? Is this man-made? Is it us? What's happening? What's bringing down the people's regular drones? And then this picture pops up. They're saying these things are starting to crash, right? Bam, this pops up on X. And this looks pretty close to what we just saw a minute ago, and it's a nice sized one. But if you notice on this photo that it's already shattered in pieces, so you don't see the tail end. It's broken, busted. Um, there's a large antenna coming out of the back end and an antenna coming out of the front. Right. And this is what people had seen out there, right? And what had crashed, right? This is coming from a person that was on X, right? And this photo was about a week and a half ago, right? So I'm just kind of taking you back in time a little bit to kind of I'm putting everything together for you, all right, little by little. So and I was like, well, what was his comments on this? And this is the important part of this comment, right? So let's read what he was saying on this comment. So he says, I can't believe I caught this last night. It says, got swarmed with unmarked cop cars as they forced me to leave the area. Why would they do that? Right? You ask yourself, why would unmarked cop cars tell him to leave the area? Were they already monitoring the area to where these things were already flying? People were seeing 50, hundreds of these things as they were flying all over the place, right? Why would they tell him that after he saw this thing come down and crash, right? Gets you wondering a bit. And then we started getting stories about there was a bomb or something, a nuclear weapon that had got lost in the sea and during shipping. Who does that? Who ships a nuclear weapon like that? Where everybody's going to know, and it got lost, right? So, and then people just start. Of course, we're making assumptions here. Everybody's making assumptions, and at the same time, people start freaking out, right? Why not freak out? Because all of a sudden, these drones are all over the freaking place in New Jersey, mainly New Jersey, and this is where all this was happening at first. What is happening? And then these kind of tweets start coming out, right? And this guy says, "Everyone hear me? CIA leaked drones are scanning for radiation. There are two suspected dirty bombs that got smuggled in over the border, and the government is aware that has been searching for them." I don't know. This is just what this guy was saying. It says that's why they keep scanning 24/7. Stop worrying about the drones and worry about the dirty bombs, right? And this is what this guy is saying through the whole thing, right? World War III is coming. This is a speculative, right? This is what this person is saying. And of course, we're going to jump the gun in our minds already because somebody already threw that out there. They feed the seed into us. Bam, this is what we start coming out with. And of course, everybody's going to act that way or a different way, right? And then people are still seeing that same drone that I just showed you that crashed to the ground, and let me see. This is it. So I do have a video of it. Oh, here it is. Watch. So and this is the same drone as what people were seeing as it was flying, right? I don't know if it'll pop up right away. It might take a second, but this is exactly what they were seeing, right? And as you can see down in the video below, you can see it as it's flying. This is what people were seeing coming out of the sky, and all of a sudden these things start crashing to the ground. And of course, us as ufologists, we start going straight for the UFOs and everything like that, right? So how I was talking about the radiation, the leaks, everything like that. So all of a sudden, this nurse comes out and she starts talking she's talking about the sickness, how people were possibly, she goes, okay, out there's a radiation in New York City rising. This could be the reason why people are getting sick. Hospitalization is diverting patients to for rapidly spreading a stomach virus, right? And if you think about it, radiation sickness does act the same way, right? It's called acute radiation syndrome, right? And it makes it feel like you have a stomach bug. It makes you throw up, things like that. We've all heard about it and talked about it in the ufology community, right? And these were the precautionary measures that we start looking at, right? Okay, is this what it is, right? Hospitals start getting full, but then it's closer to the wintertime in this area. Maybe people are just getting sick or whatever. Maybe something else was happening. But then you start wondering what is happening in these areas. Then we get this.
Patterson Tower, Med Flight 8, 1900 feet, About 7 miles southwest of the field, like transition your Delta northeastbound.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation. Suggest at or above 1700 AGL.
That we will maintain 2000 and on our transition for Med Flight 8.
And I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Roger that, no problem.
Position approved, sir.
Approved, Med Flight 8.
Med Flight 8 Tower.
Ahead for Med Flight 8.
Hey, sir, you're still approved through our Class Delta. After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition.
I'm sorry about that. You got stepped on by other traffic. Can you say again?
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Roger that. No problem. Thank you.
All right, so what does that tell you? All right, so they're already starting to shut down the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is a couple of states away. Right, it's not there. It's a little bit away. So they're having a lot of this air traffic that's not supposed to be there, right? And it's getting dangerous. So, and then the people start, asking questions. What is going on? And a regular drone, really, in reality, drones are almost like useless during the night. They're only good during the day. Their cameras only work great during the day. As far as a standard drone, commercialization drones, they have one or two maybe just that will do FLIR and will scan, and they use these for emergency reasons, just to scan areas to where there is where they're looking for people, or they can see body heat, things like that, right? And they do actually have a drone that has a sniffer, and what this sniffer does, it sniffs out like gases, like if there's a gas leak of some sort, propane, anything like that, but a large amount that it will actually scan for. So if you think about it, were these drones actually scanning for some sort of gas, radiation, things, anything out there that was possibly getting people sick, anything like that, right? And of course, people were just kind of freaking out, right? What are these things? Why, right? But then all of a sudden, people out there in that same general area would notice that their electric vehicles were going haywire as well, right? So here we go.
Okay, legit, I had to pull over and pull this back up because I thought maybe it's a car party, right? There's a bunch of those weird looking Tesla vehicles over there, and I thought maybe it's like a car club. They're just all meeting up, and it's a Thursday night. I just want to show you, but there's no one over there. There's not a body. There's not a person. If it was a car club, those are pretty common around Atlanta. But look at this. I'm going to zoom in just so you. But the video that I heard was this girl who was saying, have you seen any of, the lights flickering or anything like that? And then there was a guy in Jersey who was like, yeah, my house lights, my house lights have been going off and flickering. And she made a video of lights just like this doing the same thing in a parking lot. I have no idea how to find that or stitch it, but this is what's happening.
All right, so you see that these cars are going crazy, all just the electric vehicles, right? Houses are they're flickering. Street lights were flickering in different counties, and things that were happening right now. We've all seen this in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the lights and everything goes down in his vehicle. And what do we know there's a strong electronic magnetic fields that can cause this, but we know what can do as well, which is an electronic magnetic pulse, right? EMP, right? Can actually do this as well. Why would something be like that? And then I dug into it just a little bit deeper. And it's just to me, it was a little mind blowing, right? Of everything that was happening and why did it happen for just that week and a half or 2 weeks that it actually took place, right? Anibal says, yeah, they were way ahead of their time. I guess he's talking about the how the military and everything was shutting down. They knew these things were coming in, right? And let's see, he says. It's been happening a lot in a lot of places. Yes, Ryan, that's exactly right. So something started picking my brain, right? And I started thinking about this, and then I started thinking, well, what if it was an electronic magnetic pulse, right? An EMP, right? So I dug into it just a little bit, and I was pretty much just reading about it. It stands for electronic magnetic pulse, right? And here we're reading it. It could be an EMP can be caused by nuclear detonations. A nuclear detonation high above the Earth's surface can create an EMP, right? But what if it's just a small one, right? And that's what I was thinking too, right? Because something disrupted the electronic magnetic fields over that general area, right? Something did this. Even it says space weather events does this too. These are naturally occurring EMPs, right? But we don't necessarily see them a lot, and only in that general area where it was happening, where this that EMP was actually taking place, right? And I just kept on looking at it that way. Is this an EMP, right? Uh, it has a strong possibilities of one, right? And when you send that many drones out there, um, our minds start racing. And when they started talking about the nuclear thing, and then there was a dirty bomb out there possibly, right? So at the same time, when that was happening, when all the blinking lights on the cars, their radio stations went crazy. Not just there, but there was a few radio stations around the United States, right? Here's one of them. Let's watch this.
What the fuck? It's supposed to be Christmas music.
Yeah, maybe. We have a troll out there. Yeah, trolling. It's okay, man. They don't bother me. Anyway, so it's what do we think? What do you think is happening, man? And that is the crazy part. That is the crazy part. We had a friend of ours that actually his son went into that broke the radio down. In other words, kind of like the sound that was coming out of the radio. And let's see if I can find it here. I think I put it on here. He kind of broke the sound down, and we were able to tell what it was saying. He slowed it down just a little bit, and then he put it back on again. So let's check it out real quick.
Thank you.
Awesome. If you make it to 10 years.
Still together and everything? Well, she's actually my friend, and we've been through a lot the last. Thank you.
What the fuck?
Right. So that's what that sounded like when they slowed that down, and that station was actually playing Christmas music, things like that. So is it a deciphered message? I don't know, man. I don't know, and that's the possibility that what it could be as well, right? And what do we do, man, in a situation like that, right? there's really nothing you can but just try to figure out exactly what's going on and what caused that. Because once it slowed down, you'd figure it would be playing the Christmas song or whatever it was, but it's a mixture of everything inside that one recording, right? And that was playing online, live. I'm sorry, but when they slowed it down, you heard what it was saying, right? It was totally just a random little things that were coming up on there, right? And which is, hey, why? That's my thing, when we're trying to figure it out, right? So everybody was asking the same questions as I was, right? At the same time. So they did another press conference, right? They asked them again, the government. Let's see.
Just why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military drones. Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Again, sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell you specifically, what aspects are classified or not. I can assure you, though, that again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, so they're saying now they have classified information on some of that was happening, right? Why? Right? Was it the dirty bomb, or was it something that was it something nuclear? Was something out there that we were supposed to know about but weren't, right? Did people get any kind of radiation sickness? Anything that happened, right? We started like I talked about the Teslas, and that was actually happening to different kind of vehicles, not just Tesla. It was different vehicles that were electric vehicles that was happening to, right? While that recording, everything was, and I'm giving you the timeline here. What's going on? Of what happened during that whole period of couple of weeks when all these drones and everything was happening, right? So let's get a close up so that way I'm just not saying it are just Teslas. There were different vehicles.
Oh my God, what are these Teslas doing? Oh my God, my phone's making funny, weird noises too. Oh no, they're hacking my system. Oh my. Ah.
All right, so you notice that. Of course, you're seeing these from my phone, so that's why you're getting all that other crap. But at the same time, like I said, these were all different kinds of vehicles, not just Teslas that this was happening to, right? And then all of a sudden, people start reporting that there was some over the Capitol as well, right? That they were catching UAPs or drones that were hovering by the Capitol. And they were trying to say, okay, well, why are these two sitting there kind of around the Capitol? And why isn't nobody doing anything? Why didn't nobody say anything? And I guess that's why when you saw that they're asking the question to that colonel or whoever he was, that they would just tell him, hey, what is this thing? And why are these things protecting the Capitol? And I'm going to show you this video real quick.
They're staying stationary. They're hovering.
They kind of look wide too.
Look at the lights changing.
It is moving.
No, it's not.
It looks like it.
Yeah, but they're not moving. That's an airplane. Hang on.
Which one? The one closest to the Capitol building?
Hang on, let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, that's an airplane.
But the one in the middle, that one.
That's an airplane. You can see it moving.
Yeah.
The one to the right, or over here.
The one behind the Capitol building is not an airplane.
Or over here. That's an airplane. Okay.
Yeah, over there is, but look at that one.
And I'm saying, like, when you look to the left of the Capitol,
that
those are not moving.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. They're here.
Can we go back in the car?
They're here, Ella.
What the heck?
I'm telling.
All right, so how long can a drone fly? 25, 35 minutes tops. Even the professional ones, you're looking at 35 minutes tops, right? And mine only flies 25, 30 minutes. That's all. That's about as long as I can get out of my drone. They say those drones were hovering for hours, right? Were they drones or were they UAPs? And why were they hanging just in that general area, right? Um, People started noticing, right, that they started going to their radar detectors, right? Their radiation detectors, and there's one called, I think it's called GMC. If you go look at it, so people were actually starting to go out there, and they were actually starting to find high traces of radiation around these areas, right? So that's what you're looking at right here, where it says 65, right? Radiation, surging fast now in the Capitol building, right? So were these drones ours? And were they just around that building to get that, right, to get that information, or were they protecting something, or was something happening, right? And this is what we're trying to figure out, of what these things are we talking about extraterrestrials and our own military working together, or is something happening here, right? Or did something bad happen, and they both of these entities came together and started working, right, to try to figure out exactly what it was? Or are these drones that we're not supposed to have, we have them, and they're able to do these maneuvers? Of course, they look like UAPs. We mistake them for UAPs. Of course, we've already seen them crash down into the ground. Bam, I showed you that picture there. And then, of course, the guy says, why, that a cop car, an unarmed cop car, shows up and tells him to leave the area ASAP, right? Why? And I'm not trying to scare people. And that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to go down to the realization that something was happening at that time. And whether it was these drones or whether it was UAPs, a massive amount of them that was actually emitting a lot of this, maybe possible radiation, from these UAP crafts, because we know that they do emit a lot of radiation from these actual UAP crafts. Those electronic magnetic fields come from somewhere, right? They come within these crafts, UFO craft, right? UAP craft, whatever you want to call them. And they're emitting this large amounts of possibly radiation, right? And maybe that's what was happening. Right? So we have another person here. Start seeing the large numbers in red, especially in red. It starts telling you that these numbers were going up at the time. Around the New York area, right? So that's what you're starting to look at here. It's called GNNC, I believe, or GMC, like the truck. It's an app. Go check it out. Download it, and you'll be able to see all the areas of where these, where there's a lot of radiation, and there will be some naturally in some places, but there's some that are going to be over the freaking top, right? And that's what it's about, man. It's about trying to figure out exactly what we're looking at here. Whether you help me out there, or we all try to work at this together to figure out what happened. Something happened, right? Something happened, right? And what happened in the 1950s, right? When we saw this, it was after the war, right? And then they started getting these UAP crafts that were flying over the Capitol as well. What happened when that one UFO that they shot at? Don't you remember? They opened fire on these things in the 1950s. So why didn't they fire upon these that were over the video I just showed you, right? It says it's an anti-scare tactic. It's ours, showing things that obviously suck or obviously are ours, right? They threw out the score tactics and the rest of the world, right? Possibly, man. Hey, who's to say yes and who's to say no? But why didn't they shoot these things out of the sky, right? And I know they're high populated areas. It would have been dangerous, of course, but were they being threatened of some sort? Was there any kind of threat to shoot these things down? And if they were emitting a lot of radioactive signals, why didn't they try to take these things down? So I decided to download the app and I looked at it myself. And if you notice around the New York area, this is the same time this was happening. Around the New York area on the right, it's a 673, right? These are the how high the radiation signals were peaking at that time. Just in that general area. And then we see some UAPs as well start interacting with these drones, or if it was one of ours, we're able to, like I said, knock these drones. They were being knocked out of the sky. So if I had my personal drone, I saw one, people were trying to fly them towards these drones and they were being taken down and it almost looked like they were, and these things were falling to the ground. It wasn't being brought back home by the FAA, things like that. These were actually being just came down crashing. What does that?
Oh, is that moving quick? That could be a drone. I don't know what the hell that is. But that is quick. There's only one remaining right now. Whatever that green flashing one is, he moved quick around it to get it. Super quick. He's like right there with it. Oh, he's like right on it. Ooh, that whatever it was just shut down the drone, if that was a drone.
Bam, right? That's what happened. So the green light was the drone, like a man-made drone, that one of ours. And it got so close to that orb or whatever it was, it brought it down. But if you notice, it was still a little small trickle of light coming off of that drone. So it still had some sort of power. So it emitted some sort of I don't know, man. Something brought that drone down to where it fell out of the sky completely, right? Was that orb or drone out there, whatever it was, uh, have some sort of electronic magnetic field that knocked it out? It's a possibility. Was that an orb or was that a drone? Right. So this is where we start mixing it up, right? Is what's happening here? Is it a UFO or is it one of ours? And they talked about it over and over and over, right? About that. But at the same time, people were actually getting UFO sightings at their homes when all this was happening. These things were getting more and more and more, right? So what happened in the 1940s and 1950s? So 40s actually, when we were testing the atomic weapons, right? And this, of course, Joe Rogan brought this up, and a lot of people bring it up that, during this testing time, this is when the activity of UAPs and UFOs started getting greater and greater. There was more and more of these UAPs flying around after we started detonating these huge bombs, right? We're the man killers is basically what we are, right? We're gonna destroy ourselves with these things, right? And then all of a sudden these UAPs, UFOs start showing up during the 1940s and 1950s when they're starting to do all these nuclear tests. So what if something happened that these UAPs, actual UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, show up and start wondering what the hell's going on? Right? So then this came out of somebody's Ring camera. Watch this.
I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime. Wow. I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime. Wow. I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime. Wow. I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime. Wow. I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime. Wow. I've never seen nothing like that. Not in my lifetime.
All right, so you get the logistics of that. The guy said, I never seen anything like that. And if you notice when it's hovering, it's actually, you can see the light hit the ground on the grass, right? That is a UAP right there. That one right there. And we can all see that. There's just no way we can make something like that. And if there is, hey, they did a great job. You know, they did a really good job of that UAP. And then why was it hovering silent over that home at the time? You know, those Ring cameras, they got microphones. They pick up everything. You didn't hear nothing. You didn't hear no propellers. You didn't hear nothing coming out of that thing. Nothing. You know, and this is the scary part about, and everything's to me is just kind of leading to the general knowledge that something happened, possibly maybe above our skies or underground, right? They just didn't feel it, didn't hear it, or something happened to where it affected that general area that we didn't see or didn't hear or didn't feel, right? Radiation is silent, man. You can't see it. You can't see it. And it will affect you. And that just brings it to my point of what these things possibly, what happened, right? First, they didn't know what it was. Even Dr. Greer came out saying they don't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is. They don't know what it is because it's something else. He was going straight up extraterrestrial. Both of these entities were working together in a sense to kind of throw you off of something else that was happening, right? Now you don't hear anything about it. Nothing. Right? It went dead silence, right? Dead freaking silence. Nobody knew nothing. Nobody from the big White House up there didn't know anything. And then all of a sudden,
just why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military drones. Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I don't. I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Again, sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell.
It's classified. Now it's classified, right? Why is it classified? I can't tell you. I don't know. Well, I don't have the paperwork in front of me. What are they going to say, man? Yeah, we had a nuclear leak, man, and we're just scanning all over the place. But we don't want to start. We don't want to do some large, a large panic. But at the same time, somebody's going to get blamed for it, right? Somebody's going to get blamed for that. Hear no evil, see no evil. It is what it is, right? And a lot of that is what you're going to get out of it, right? And of course, I was looking at my observations on the GMC map, right? And I started looking at, and I was noticing a lot of these places were having high activity, right? And these islands and where there was large traces of radiation in these specific places, right? And I was like, wow. If you notice, there was a large place all over that map that I just showed you a second ago. Now, all of a sudden, these are the UAP sightings during that area, during that time, right? This was from a week and a half ago, right? So people were saying, look, this is how much was UFO activity was coming around these islands, around different places. And they seem to be, this is just my observation, it seems to be places of high radioactive levels. Right? And this is where all these UAP drones were spotted. They could be UFOs. They're actually calling them UFOs in this video. And we look at the United States. Bam, all over. Especially on the East Coast, where everything was happening, right? If something did happen and they didn't say anything, shame on them, right, for that, right? And we tend to be pointing fingers at everything and everybody all the time, right? And that's just a normal humanistic thing to do, right? Because we're trying to figure it out. And at the same time, here on Alien Strand, and what we do for ufology and for ufologists out there and people that are just trying to figure these things out, we have this, to me, has the symptoms of both, right? It has the best of both worlds here. So we're looking at UAPs, and we're actually looking at military made drones, something we did and something they have as well. Did these both entities work together on this thing? Maybe. Did they figure it out? Maybe, because you haven't heard not a damn thing anymore about it, right? And that's what we're trying to figure out here, man. What happened? And I wrapped my brain around this over and over and over, right? I don't live in that general area. No. It's like, why should you care? They don't live over there. It's happening to them. No, we should care. Everybody should care what's happening. Because it can come to right the way it came there. It'll come right down here to Texas. It'll go to Colorado. It'll go right down to Oregon. It'll go anywhere, right? And this was a large populated area, man. Large populated area. And of course, since then it snowed. It's been snowing out there a lot, which probably has covered up a lot of that maybe radiation that's out there. I don't know. I know snow won't do it. If it's real radiation, a lot of times when they've detonated a nuclear bomb, that stuff stays on the surface for 200 years plus, right? You literally have to bury that crap. Because if not, people are going to be getting sick everywhere, right? Oh, and they were complaining about the water, how it smelled nasty, and people were in the New York area, around that area, on the outside states of New York as well. They were complaining that the water was nasty. It was turning brown, things like that. It smelled like, they said it smelled like paint, right? You know, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. But we have to try to figure out exactly what happened. And, maybe later we'll find out that something did happen. And of course, they'll start pointing fingers at everybody and putting the blame game. And, what do you do, man? It's like, why not tell you right then and there? I'm not saying we're having an alien invasion or whatever. Even if we did, are you ready? Are you ready for that? I am. I mean, I've been, awakened for a long time now. So I don't know if you guys are ready for that, right? It goes real deep, man. This stuff goes even deeper than this. But I just gave you the surface, man. This is just what everybody's been catching out there, the surface. People are saying it's Project Bluebeam, things like that, right? It's a possibility that's happening. And then I find out that Dr. Greer, he says, no, man, Project Bluebeam is a made up term that was made on the web. He goes, this guy knows everybody and anybody in the military, even the ones that are deep down underground. And they said that term does not exist. But who's to say that it's not called something else, but within the same agenda, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be Project Bluebeam. It could be something else. Same agenda. So really, in reality, I wouldn't use that term anymore. Not just because he said, but you don't see anything close to it. It's kind of hard to people are seeing these lasers coming out of the sky, and they're, of course, in Hawaii and all these other places that took these places out, right? With fire, and we see videos all over. Project Bluebeam. Now this alien invasion, Project Bluebeam. Drones over Project Bluebeam. Everything's Project Bluebeam, right? Let's take a step back and think about it just for a minute. Does Project Bluebeam mean all of this, right? I don't know. I don't think it does. It should just be one thing, one agenda, and be what it is. Because in the 1950s, they would have blown these things out of the freaking sky, and they would have, right? And they didn't. They didn't. Of course, times have changed. Times has changed. And that's what gets me wondering about this. And then now it's like, hush, hush. Don't say nothing. The news will throw you off into something different. All right. Anyway, I'm glad you guys stuck around, listened to this little presentation today. And I just gave you something to think about, really, in reality. It's just something to think about. I didn't tell you if it was this or that. With me personally, I just think it was a little of both. And something else happened. Something bigger happened, right? And something bigger is happening in these locations. And we have to open our minds a little bit, think outside the box a little bit, and figure things out on our own sometimes, because you know what? They're not going to tell us. Nobody's going to tell you a damn thing. Nobody's going to tell you when they push the button. Nobody's going to tell you nothing. You have to figure it out yourself. And you always have to be prepared for stuff like this, right? At the same time. I don't know about you, but I don't trust anybody. And that's just the way it is. People aren't people anymore. It's horrible. There's a lot of people out there that are just horrible to each other. And you know what? I hate to say, but even our own big brother is the same way. They wouldn't. All they're going to care about is their own backsides, really, in reality. And they don't care about us, the little people. We have to take care of ourselves and take care of the people around us that are there with us. And that way we can work together as a family and a team. Because there's no I in team. I don't do this by myself. I work with all these people you see right there on screen. They all help, and we all help together because we're all trying to figure out exactly what's going on up there and below our feet. They're above our heads and below our feet because we are in the middle, right? And that's what these films are about. Be sure to catch them on Amazon Prime, now on Fossum TV. Download the app on your Roku. You'll be able to see the middle, part 2. And you can see the middle, part 1 as well on Fossum TV for free. You don't got to look for it on YouTube, but it's there. It's there as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. You know, I try to give you as much information as possible. I try to point things out to you that maybe you didn't see, maybe you did see it. And if you didn't, and you saw something you didn't think about, hey man, give me a thumbs up. You know, share this podcast if you really enjoyed it. It's one of those things, man. Let's all work together and let's figure these things out. And if we find something out that has to do with this case right here, we'll throw it out again. Right. Until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. Have yourselves a good night. Love you guys. See you later. Alien Strand Podcast. Don't forget, thumbs up. See you later.